Can we talk more about humanitarian parole? It's an option that exists, but I've always been pessimistic. So a lot of times I don't bring it up. And recently, one of my associates like, "Why are you so pessimistic? Give it a shot." At the border, especially with CBP, there's, it's worth a shot. Can we talk about the kind of cases you had approved with humanitarian parole?
Okay, so typically humanitarian parole and everything I had known and understood was that it was kind of your unicorn. You have to have the right facts,
Yeah,
almost like a cancellation case, right? You have to have something that's dire enough, and they
yeah.
still may or may not accept it. Typically go through your process with DOS, get your denial, show up at the border, and see, take your shot at it. One of our former associates here, however, ended up getting in contact with one of the supervisory CBP officers at one of the ports of entry and had a conversation and was able to convince people who were in unsanitary, unsafe conditions in the camps under the Stay in Mexico program, convinced her to let the individuals come in for parole. And so essentially what we started doing is we would assess each case, do a thorough intake process, uh, assess any medical issues, physical issues, unsafe, had they been victimized by crime, are they families, um, and prepare packets at the border, and we'd submit them through. And over this last year, we've had hundreds of families that we've
Oh,
that we've
wow.
put through at the borders.
Wow,
But
wow.
this is a Title 42 specific piece, and they've clearly indicated to us that they are scaling back on it. We've had some ports that we were working with that have stopped doing the humanitarian parole under this process,
Yeah.
and a few that are still trickling through, with the recent Supreme Court um, decisions that are essentially holding it at bay at this point. I don't really know what CBP is going to do or not, but we're assuming that it's gonna scale down at this point.
I mean, that's incredible work. You got even one family is a lot, let alone the numbers that you mentioned. That's incredible. So, this pessimism I had wasn't a good thing. I'm glad I'm getting back into it and putting the word out. Like, obviously, you said they might be dialing it down, but sometimes if that's the only option, you got to give it a shot. Like I have people in like the UNHCR program for refugee status in like other countries, or like, can we come to the border and parole in? I'm like, I don't know, that's kind of pushing it if you come from Turkey all the way here, but might if they want to give it a shot, that might be a thing to do.
The problem is you have to be there though. So if you get there and then you get denied, you're in a tough situation.
Yeah. No going back there to Turkey, going back like you're stuck in Mexico. It's a very uncomfortable position to be in all of a sudden.
Yeah, but sometimes people just want to know the option and they'll
Yeah, you
they'll
got
sign
to give them all
up
the
for it.
options. Exactly.